brought my
That's
laptop.
fine. You're on. You're on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, again, I'm Danielle Colucci. I'm with Vapor Corp. We are an electronic cigarette manufacturer. I may veer off a little bit from this because most of the stuff I have in my head. I just wanted to put something together so that you guys would have something to bring back from you. Probably with everybody, all this information, your brain is probably just a little overloaded, so it's something that you can refer back to. Just want to tell you a little bit about our company. We have been in the business, and this is the only thing we do. We're not part of tobacco or anything. We are an electronic cigarette and vaporizer manufacturer. We also manufacture disposable cigars, any hookah sticks with nicotine and without nicotine. We're pretty much one of the pioneers in the business. As Mark specified to you before, we were like one of the first vaporizer companies that they were doing business with.
You're the only one last year.
The only one last year, and now, you know, the market is booming, the category is exploding. You know, you're dealing with a category that's well over into $1 billion. And that includes, yeah, both the electronic cigarettes and vaporizers. But it seems these days that the vaporizers are kind of taken over from your traditional electronic cigarette, which was disposable or rechargeable. So they are, you know, growing very, very much over, you know, the e-cigarettes. Again, we've been in business since 2007. We started out in 2006, came public as a publicly traded company back then, and we've been that way ever since. We've grown to expand ourselves and going to be put on the NASDAQ. So anything you'd want to find out about our company is pretty much transparent. Right on Yahoo Financials, look at the business card, it'll give you the ticker that you can check us out. That's just a little bit about our company. I know you probably want to learn more about the vaporizer end than anything else, so I'm kind of going to skip over some of this stuff and just go into the vaporizers. A. Weiss is carrying our product. We have basic 2 kits that they have in their warehouse. One is our XPS kit. That kit comes with a battery. It's an Ego style battery. Our battery is a 650 mAh. It may not be as strong as some of the other ones that you're seeing out on the market. There's 900, 950. You can find 1,000 mAh, 1,300 mAh. But keep in mind, as you increase your mAh, which is your charging time, which is how much charge is in the battery. Each mAh, which is an mAh, gives you 1 hour of charge time, basically. So in reality, a 650 mAh battery is going to give you 6.5 hours of constant charge time or constant vaping time, depending on how often somebody's going to vape on that unit. Depends on how long the battery lasts. Most people who are smokers and are wanting to convert to a vaporizer is going to want to go with something that's not so big. And keep in mind, as you get in your larger mAh, your batteries start growing. So for your regular average smokers, they're going to probably want to deal with something that's, like I said, maybe 650, 900, and now you're going to start going to something different. Larger batteries, larger even units, they go into some mods, but your mods are something that really is like your trendy smokers, more of a different generation than your regular vapors. Will go with something more, you know, suitable for them. Sorry. Now on our tanks and our e-juice, we have on the liquid, we carry your traditional tobacco and menthol, and we also carry 10 to 15 different flavors. Our company doesn't offer flavors like your Tutti Frutti, your gummy bears, your pound cake or birthday cake or chocolate chip cookie or any flavors like that. We feel that that's geared more towards a younger generation. It's geared more towards people that don't smoke or vape. prior to going into a store and seeing all these fancy flavors that's going to lure them into maybe possibly start smoking. My company only deals with your basic flavors like your strawberry, your banana, blueberry, cherry, vanilla, chocolate, grape, apple, like that, and your traditional tobacco and menthol flavorings. They come in 5 different levels of nicotine, one being a 0 nicotine, so we start out with a 2.4 or 24 milligram, depends on where you see it. It's all by volume, basically. 18, 12, 6, and 0. Your most common nicotine strength out there, which you'll find is your customers are buying, is probably either 1.8 and 0 now. Those are your 2 common flavors. So ours are a 10 ml bottle. Our caps are color-coded for your different nicotine levels. 2.4, 1.8, 1.2, 6, and 0. All our bottles are 10 ml as I specified. Our juices right now are all Chinese factory. Factory we deal with has been particle tested for pureness. Our factories are all sterile. They wear laboratory coats. It's a very, very sterile and safe environment. They know the mixture. They know the percentage of nicotine that's got to be put in the bottles. Some companies out there are buying in bulk. Beware. Beware if they're buying bulk flavorings, bulk chemicals, and bulk nicotine. What's happening out there is they're mixing in their stores or in their houses or in the back, in a warehouse everywhere. You got to be careful what you're buying. I'm not saying, I'm telling you this because I want you to buy mine. There's a lot of things, a lot of companies out there that are selling reputable products. But beware, because they're mixing the stuff in the backyard. The category is exploding and everybody's trying to get in on the bandwagon. You know, remember, nicotine is a poison. You can harm somebody if you sell the wrong product. If you don't know the company, and you have to research them and find out about their juice. It could be very dangerous, okay? All of ours has lot numbers, batch numbers for traceability and expiration. Most juices that kept in a cool, dry place will last well over 2 years. It's an average is about 2 years as shelf life on them, okay? Our bottles, like I said, they are safety sealed. They have child safety caps on them, and they also have a nice needle point, so it makes it easier to fill up your tank. Popular flavors, I put a little chart in there. This is my pie chart on our flavors. It's pretty averages across the industry, that your tobacco and your menthol are your most popular, tobacco being your #1 seller, menthol, and then it goes down. Our flavors, it goes as strawberry, blueberry, vanilla, cherry, grape, and then there's a mixture of the others. And that little chart's just showing you percentages that I've compounded from sales that we have. I broke down a little bit on what the vaporizer consists of. You know, basically I discussed the battery already. You have different sizes. Your battery is your power source. The battery sends the voltage when your manual button's pressed, warms the liquid at low temperature so that you're able to vape the liquid. Tank, battery, tank. Some tanks are plastic and disposable, meaning they're not serviceable, because what happens inside the tank, what's the part that goes bad or wears out or clogs up is your heater, atomizer. So on your plastic tanks, which is like your CE4 style, the disposable ones, they're going to last you, and it all depends basically is on who's, you know, the amount of usage. An average is about a month. 2, 3, 4 weeks is about an average. You have tanks out there that are made of glass. They are made with metal. Those tanks usually are serviceable, meaning they come apart. You unscrew the bottom, and you can replace the heater, coil, wick unit, whatever you'd like to call it, atomizer. Some call it a cotomizer, insert. There's several terms that are used. Proper is a heater coil. They come in a 1 coil, they come in a 2 coil, they come in a 4 coil, and the more coils that are in your tank, the bigger your vape is going to be. Okay? And most of the time when you get into those larger tanks, they are all serviceable. You're not going to find really a disposable tank that will give you 2, 3, or 4 coils. There's some tanks out there that you have to, they're a drip tank, meaning you have your coil and it's serviceable, it's openable, it's exposed to you on top, opposed to where some of them are on the bottom, where you have to fill, is then you have to then manually drip. You drip cotton around the coil, and it's called like a drip tip. So you got to constantly drip on it. Where the other tanks are just you fill them and you go. So there's a lot of different models out there. But my company, we're pretty much staying with the basic. We do have a couple of serviceable tanks that we just that we've just presented. But the most common are your plastics for your average vapors. Again, like I said, when you get into the trendy, maybe younger crowd, and I'm not going to say all younger because we do have some older people and mature people that like the trendy stuff as well. Yes.
I sell more of the.
Excuse me?
I sell more of the cheaper ones because they want one for each flavor.
Well, yeah.
And they use a lot of.
Well, you
and,
want.
And you'll find your 20s and your 30-year-olds really go for it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is a mixture. I mean, I shouldn't single out anybody, but I'm just saying what I've come and seen. After a while, that's how it is. We're trying ourselves as a company, Vapor Corp, as a company, is we don't really get into all of that flashy. Just the flashy, the blingy, the big, the mods or anything like that, because like I said, we're more geared going to the regular traditional smoker who's trying to convert over and enjoy a more healthier version of smoking. Because some people want to smoke. Some people don't want to stop smoking, but they want to, they're finding that vaping is a lot healthier. You have in your liquid couple chemicals. Those chemicals that are in there is your vegetable glycerin and your polypropylene glycol. And it's usually, a variation depending on what the manufacturer. Some do a 70-30, some do a 60-40, 50-50. It depends on the company. Now, those two chemicals that I just mentioned, the vegetable glycerin and the polypropylene glycol, have already been accepted and tested and regulated and whatever you want to call it with the FDA. So those are ingredients that are already out there in products that we use on a daily basis and consume. Your other ingredient obviously is your nicotine if you're taking a juice or liquid that has nicotine or not. So there would be no nicotine, and water. So there's your basic, your chemical.
What do you mean exactly about the 1.6 and the 1.8?
That is the percentage. Well, when you look at it, it's 1.2 or 0.6 or 1.8 or 2.4 or 24 milligrams. But when you go with the 2.4%, that's a percent by volume, by the size
Of your bottle.
by the bottle, by volume.
So when you see that 1.2.
But you'll see some people will say, like I said, in a percentage, 2.4% by volume, or they'll advertise it 24 milligrams. But basically, it's just a different way of presenting it. It's the same thing.
Well, how do you know when it says 1 point, if that's 24 or 16 or whatever?
Well, you just take the decimal away.
Okay.
1.2,
I mean,
or
that
12
is your
milligrams.
nicotine dose,
It's the same. It's just a
bottle.
different perception of it.
By
It's
the
still
bottle.
it's still basically per volume, by volume. However, you know, because it's like I said, it's like tomato, basically. Some people will say 24 milligrams, and some will tell you 2.4% by volume. Battery.
You said you're coming out with an adapter for your tanks?
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to get to that. The only reason is because with the adapter, is that previously, since we've been selling vaporizers for many years now, when we came out with it, there really was no industry standard on screw thread. Give me 1 second, sweetie. So what happened is we came out with our own screw thread, which was 601. And the screw thread is screw thread. You know, like you have in nuts and bolts, you have metric and standard. So basically, it's just the screw threading to mate into something else. Well, ours was 601. Okay, so now since the popular demand of the vaporizers has gotten so overwhelming, we decided to go and change from being a 601 screw thread, and we're changing over to the 510, which is the universal standard across the board. Okay? So now we've already sold thousands and thousands of vaporizers, whether an XPS, an XLT, whatever units that we had out there in 601. Like I said, we have converted to the 510. So what we're doing is we're offering an adapter, even though we still will be offering accessories for the 601. We are offering adapters free to the customers. We'll be giving them to Weiss so that they have them. We haven't converted a Weiss yet and the products in their warehouse because we're still going through the remainder of the 601 products that we have available. And when that depletes, we will then just slowly merge into 510, and so that nobody gets, you know, shafted that, oh my God, you know, I have a 601, now what am I going to do? Well, we're still going to be offering anyway tanks in 601. We'll just have them in the new 510, but we will be offering these adapters, which will go between the battery and the tank. It will screw on, and it changes the 601 thread. It gives the 510, so then if they want to buy new 510 stuff, they can. So it'll be a smooth transition. Nobody gets, you know, nobody gets mad. Nobody has to throw their unit out. Nobody is not going to be able to get their tanks if they need it, or any of the other, because we'll have stuff to take care of that. Okay? Spoke about that. Red cover is just that. I just want to like break down a little bit of our stuff. My juice to the XPSs and the minis. Just want to give you a little bit of information. I wrote this, you know, I have it in here for you. But basically, our bottles, again, like I said, is a 10 ml bottle. Okay. On our mini kit, this is one of our slender. It's you know, we kind of geared it more towards female, you know, smaller, or more like, say, like a 120 cigarette, like, you know, it was the Max, was it Max and Capri, I think it is. So we kind of did a little something like that because we have king size cigarettes and then we have full size electronic cigarettes. So we said, well, let's kind of do like that. But in this mini kit, again, with the 10 ml bottle, you know, for your customer, this bottle here will fill this tank anywhere from 12 to 14 times. Now, that tank, when it's filled, compared to a traditional pack of cigarettes, because, you know, it's a narrow battery, so obviously it's not going to be as powerful. It's like a 450 mAh battery. Well, that tank will cost your customers about 66 cents to fill it on a retail bottle, $7.95 retail. That's where I got my figures from. But like I said, it will give that customer a pack to a pack and a half of cigarettes comparison to the tank. Your battery, the mini is going to give you anywhere from 200 to 250 puffs on that battery charge. Then you'll have to charge it again. okay? Average, again, like average tank puff is about 200 puffs. So that's what you're getting out of your mini kit. As you're larger, not large, but larger than the mini, you have a 1.6 mil tank and a 10 mil bottle of juice. So this bottle is going to fill this tank 6 1/4 times. Now, each tank, your customer is going to get about 2.5 packs of cigarettes. I did the math, and it's about $1.27 per fill. That's on retail again to $7.95 on the tank, on the 10 mil bottle of juice. Battery, about 750 to 800 puffs. Excuse me. You know, life. Usually, if they're a steady vapor, they'll probably have to charge our battery, you know, at night. But again, it all depends on how much somebody uses it. And again, to reiterate on the battery, we found, like I said, regular traditional smokers are going to want to go with something that's, you know, a little bit more compact than something larger. Now, when you get into your larger batteries, of course, obviously, that's going to double and triple and quadruple the amount of puffs that you're going to consume from somebody else's, because we don't sell that large of a battery. So I don't really have that information to share with you, but if you use with the formula or my information and just figure it, like I said, remember, a MAU, MAH, is 1 hour charge. So if somebody has a 1300 MAU, you basically get about 13 hours on that before they have to recharge it. So you kind of can just do the math and get an idea of how long, how many puffs and all of that they will give you. And basically I put a little picture in there just to show you proper filling of your vaporizer. Always remember that you have your atomizer in the center. There's always usually a hole there, okay? Rule of thumb is do not fill your tank like this. Because what happens, you don't want to fill it like this. You want to always fill on a 45-degree angle. Sorry, but I can't see up close and then I get blurry. You always want to fill on a 45-degree angle. And that's what anybody's tank, whether it's a top fill, which on your disposables, or it's a bottom fill. 45-degree angle, and you want to get it on the wall. When you squeeze in your liquid bottle in, you want it to drip down the side and fill. Again, you do not want to fill it center, because what's going to happen when you put your cover back on and you go to vape it, you're going to get a mouthful of juice, and it's going to burn your tongue, especially if there's nicotine in it. It's going to burn. And you know, who wants a mouthful of liquid? You know, that's the vape drink. I mean, it ain't going to harm you. It's just not going to be very pleasant. So always remember, and you smoke already. I mean, you're vaping already, so you already know that. But just try, and always, if there is a line, a fill line on your tank, do not overfill it, because the same thing will happen. You will get a mouthful of liquid until that level goes down, because what's happening is just seeping over into the atomizer, the heater, or coil, whatever you want to call it. So that's the rule. That's how you should, you know, fill your tanks, and anybody's. And again, same if it's a tank. I don't have one here, a bottom fill, but if it's a bottom fill, which is your serviceable one, you unscrew it, you pull out your heater or your coil, and again, now in those, though, when you fill that, if you fill it directly, that juice is going to come out in the bottom, because there's basically a hole, because that's where the coil has to go into. So always on the side, 45-degree angle. And then basically I just put a little, you know, we sell also, we have hookah sticks, which will give you a portable hookah experience on the go. If you want to get that hookah on, 6 milligrams of nicotine, which is the same in the shisha tobacco, that if any of you have gone to any kind of hookah bar and sit down and have cocktails and have a social puff, that's the same nicotine content that's in that tobacco that you have on that tabletop hookah, which looks like either a water pipe back in the day, pipe, nice and fancy, and a lot of hoses coming out. And in the center is the actual tobacco, you know, where you burn it and you actually smoke that. Well, The hookahs give you that portable experience. We have them 6 milligram or 6% by volume or in 0. And then just the last page, I just put some of the displays that we offer. So if you're interested, and if anybody has any questions, if I didn't go over something, please ask.
What's the biggest difference between your e-cig and your e-hookah? Is it, you can't go over a certain milligrams.
Okay, now you're talking electronic cigarette, or are you talking vaporizer? Because now I know people are calling vaporizers e-cigarettes, but an e-cigarette is an electronic cigarette that looks like a cigarette. You know, they are larger and they do come disposable and rechargeable, but basically an e-cigarette looks like a cigarette. People are calling vaporizers e-cigarettes. Vaporizer, e-cigarette. Which one, Mark, are you asking me on?
On the, how do you distinguish like a good definition for retailing between an e-hookah and the original e-cigarette?
Well, first off, an e-hookah is going to be a combination of fruit flavors or a single flavor, but it's a flavor. It's you know, a strawberry banana or a kiwi strawberry or thing. You're not going to do a hookah and tobacco. Traditional hookah, tabletop hookah, yes, has a tobacco flavor to the base, but in a hookah stick. And anybody's, whether it's mine or Imperial, or there's tons of them out there now. And what's different from the electronic cigarette to the hookah stick is the nicotine consumption. An electronic cigarette will have either 2.4% of nicotine by volume or 24 milligrams, where a traditional hookah stick will have 0.6 milligrams. Like I said, the same as a shisha tobacco, or 0 nicotine. And here's your difference. Most hookah sticks are not rechargeable. I think there's one company out there that's offering a rechargeable hookah. All the ones that I've seen on the market are usually disposable. You smoke it, you throw it away. You buy another one. Any other questions? Even if I went over some, I go over it again. I like to talk. No, everybody's pretty familiar. Well, I'm at booth 59. If you want to, go over, I can go over things. I can give you some samples. The only thing I can't tell you is pricing, because Weiss is the distributor, and that pricing is handled through them. I can send you this information, anything, if you want a breakdown of a display, what consists of, how many of this, how many of that. I can do that, and then you could already, if that's something that you like, you could give it to your representative, your sales representative at Weiss, and they could price it out for you. I can just tell you retail. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope I was